As lawmakers resume from recess, rowdiness, disagreement greets the debate over immunity clause for lawmakers. And the Senate summoned the Attorney General of the Federation, again threatens to issue a warrant of arrest on him should he fail to appear before the lawmakers. And that's our focus on the program. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. I'm Sean Baloye. Let's start by giving you some of the top political stories we're following right now.
Political roundup on Channels Television. Here are your top political stories this time.
The National Assembly today resumed plenary after days on recess from the Eid al-Fitr celebration. The lawmakers took days off to mark the end of the Muslim fasting, popularly called the Ramadan season. Both chambers today opened for legislative businesses as most of the lawmakers returned to their offices before appearing at the chambers. Days of rigging and ballot stuffing may be over in Nigeria's election. That is, if the latest plans of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is anything to go by. Ahead of the September 10th governorship election in Edo State, the umpire is planning big on technology to stop anyone planning to manipulate the electoral process. INEC staff are undergoing information communication capacity training in Benin City, the Edo State capital, as the commission says it would be relying more on technology in the September 2016 election. And in the north-central state of Kogi, there are no clarity on the conduct of the hanging polls, which have been postponed indefinitely due to violence. Stakeholders and the electoral umpire are holding talks on ways to ensure peaceful conduct in order to avert a recurrence of violence. The Kogi East Senatorial District election is now expected to hold next week Saturday, and about 1,390 ad hoc staff have been prepared for the elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Addressing journalists in Lokoja, state capital, the resident Electoral Commissioner Samuel Usman disclosed this to journalists. He said a date has been agreed upon after due consultation with relevant stakeholders, both at the state and national level, on the conditions presented for the peaceful repeat of the rerun elections in the state.
And you're up to date. Those are your top political stories you need to know.
Thank you so much, everyone. Let's get started now. Where do we begin from? Let's begin from the Harlow Chamber, the lower one. We will start with right now with the situation that greeted the situation when the lawmakers resumed for plenary today after the recess in the House of Representatives in the lower chamber. It was a situation of a shouting match of some sort over a motion seeking to alter Section 308 of the Constitution to secure immunity for principal officers of the National Assembly. The motion was sponsored by the Minority Leader, Honorable Leo Ogo, but was vehemently opposed by the Majority Leader, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. Well, Honorable Gbajabiamila argues that the timing of such a bill is wrong and he believes Nigerians will not support it. In his verdict, the Speaker, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, explains that bills seeking to amend the Constitution are normally allowed to pass through the second reading before being sent to the ad hoc committee set up to review the Constitution. But the decision by the Speaker attracted more criticism from on the floor of the lower legislative chambers. Well, let's get perspectives into this matter as Mr. Chukson Wachiku, a legal practitioner, joins me in the studio. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
And from our Abuja studio is the national chairman of the Young Democratic Party, Mr. Enya Etok. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the
me.
conversation now. Let me first and foremost start with Mr. Nyeto from our Abuja studio. Politicians, we wonder at this critical time, is it the right thing to be talking about immunity for lawmakers? Is there a kind of balance that some of the lawmakers are looking for where the executives, some executives have immunity over them from prosecution, from lawsuits and criminal prosecution and all of that? But this time around, if lawmakers are asking, what does that portend for our democracy at this very critical time?
One of the biggest problems that we have is what I call misplacement of priorities. And again, there's a certain sense of insensitivity to the mood of the nation. The Bible talks about the sons of Issachar that had the capacity to discern the signs of the times. We are in real troubled times. And if I were to advise the National Assembly, whether it's the Senate or the House of Representatives, I would think that wisdom would demand that for the sake of sensibility or sensitivity to the times, they would major on issues that will touch on the generality of Nigerians, the issues of unemployment, issues of security, issues of the essence of governance, which has to do with welfare and security of the citizens. This is the best of times for them to cash in and show themselves as being caring, understanding, and having feeling for the masses. But what we find, to the contrary, is the issue of immunity, which we all know that, as sensitive as it is, there's another issue on the ground which has to do with what the principal officers in the Senate are going through. So one is wondering, are we trying to buy something through the back door and all those things? But we also understand the need or the essence or the spirit behind immunity, which is to stop the distraction of the most important people from carrying out their functions. Because of what's been going on in terms of what is before the law courts, which I will not have the liberty to talk too much on, besides a bloody architect, and then we have a learned gentleman in the House, I think that the Senate has not had an easy time attending to its responsibilities. And one could easily say, maybe that's the reason why, like governors, the principal actors in the Senate should be bad, or rather should be protected, not bad, should be protected from these distractions.
Mr. Aitok, if I may quickly come in here, one we wonder, just a moment, let me quickly ask you this. One we wonder if you have top officers in the judiciary who, after their service to the nation, after retirement, they get benefits. You have people in the executive, the president, the vice president, the governors, they get some benefits after leaving office. One we wonder that what is good for the goose, isn't it good for the gander too?
In the first instance, I need to draw a line between Architect Nyaitok as an individual and Architect Nyaitok as the national chairman of the Young Democratic Party. As the chairman of the party, I speak and stand on the position of the party, which we are still collating. So what I will say right now is a carryover of a personal disposition to this matter. I think that for where we are, it shows insensitivity. And I will press this to my party as much as possible to adopt. Why would you serve for 8 years or sometimes even 4 years, and then you go home with such a large, when you talk of the judiciary, I mean, the judges don't get in there for 2-3 days, and then when you talk of the legislature and the executive, they are two different things. I know that the executive have been able to walk that through, understandably, and within that context, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.